No QQs today, just TA. Straight into Bitcoin. Making money. David says making money will make me better. Of course. Definitely. So basically, let me just go over my trade yesterday, because I took a short yesterday and it was basically last night. Why did I take the short? Let me oh my god, let me quickly explain. Right. So it was just before the close, and then I saw that, well, what I saw was this. I was looking at the daily close and I saw that it closed within the range of the previous candle, and I didn't really expect it to just suddenly go up. Like, that wouldn't look right. I was expecting a pullback, so I thought, well, this would be a good place to short. And then I had a really easy invalidation, because it was all about, it's always about the invalidation. And so when I saw that it made this wick here, I was like, okay, that's a pretty good invalidation. I have an invalidation now. So what I actually did was I just kept on shorting, short. I shorted about 4 times, and basically I was shorting back into this triangle. Yeah, the original one. Yeah, I wasn't really looking at the triangle, to be honest with you, but I thought to myself, it doesn't make sense at the end of the day to suddenly go up like it did. It wouldn't make sense. I was like thinking about the logic of how the price moves, and also the time, and also I had this short idea in mind already. You see this yellow thing? So I already had that in mind. I already had the idea of going up and coming back down. So I had a trade plan. Once this pivot was put in, that was my invalidation, because I kind of expected that to happen, really. And so naturally it was easy to short, because I had an invalidation, and I didn't go crazy. I just came in a really small amount, and then as the price kept on showing weakness, I kept on adding, and then obviously my trade idea is down here, but I set to take most of my profit at this order block here. And so let me get rid of these lines now. I'll show you. So what I was thinking to myself is I was thinking this exposed red candle here, just underneath this wick here. So I just set my limit order just underneath this green wick into this red exposed candle, which is the first exposed order block on the down path, on the kind of the lower time frame. So that's what I was thinking. Yeah. So I was looking at these candles, couldn't really see any kind of, like, I wasn't really looking at the 15-minute. I was looking at the 1 hour and the 4 hour, really. And then when I was looking at the 1 hour, 4 hour, I could see even the 4 hour, there's no order block. It's really the 1 hour that I was looking at, this candle. We are actually forming a head and shoulders pattern right now. I am stopped out of my runner because I just set it to break even. That's fine. I'm not worried about that, because I took my profit. and I made my 1%. That's all I'm really trying to do right now. I'm just trying to make 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, and I'm trying to compound my account. So gradually over time, because I'm always taking 1% profit, my account size is actually growing exponentially. Yeah, it's a little bit slow at the beginning, but eventually it will grow fast eventually. It's not a problem, you know, we're in it for the long game. No one's trying to get rich overnight. That's fine. So looking at this triangle, I don't really like it, to be honest with you. So it is still in play. I'm not fond of this triangle, but it's still there because I don't think it's being respected that much. Let me just see if the volume has changed. I'm almost thinking the triangle has moved a little bit. So there. So the triangle's a little bit more equal. That's what I'm thinking. So we have the crux at the point of control. Oh, you expanded it, yeah. If you want to really expand it, then that's the outer limits. But I wouldn't mind, I don't mind if that is it, to be honest with you, because I like it how the crux comes on the point of control. Oh, the point of control has moved actually. Look, see? The point of control has moved up. So maybe you're right. If the point of control has moved up, that's a bit bearish. That's slightly bearish, huh? When the point of control moves up. You don't want the point of control to move up, you want it to move down. So that would be perfect, actually. Yeah, actually, the expanded triangle, the outer triangle, is now perfectly on the new point of control, which would make perfect sense. Yeah. And then what you can do, rather than do this, just get rid of that, you can just use this one. And then you look like a pro. So we're at the middle. Literally no trade to be had. Literally, there's no trade here. It could go up, it could go down. There's no way to trade here. Like absolutely no way. And this is not good for the alts, by the way. This kind of behavior for Bitcoin, because this behavior is now is creating uncertainty on the wider market. It would have been better for Bitcoin to go up, I mean for the altcoins, for Bitcoin to be ranging above here than to be dead center in the middle of the range, not really knowing which direction to go. And I think the reason why is because we're in a decisive moment for Bitcoin. Yeah. What is the decisive moment that I'm talking about? Well, if this breaks down, then we've confirmed bearish market structure. And if this breaks up, we're heading into resistance. A lot of resistance above us. So it's tricky, because if it breaks down, we're bearish, and if we go up, we're bearish. So there's no real situation here where we're bullish, actually. I don't see this breaking up to go up at the moment because we're dead center at the middle of the range, and we have volume levels above us. We have naked volume levels above us, and we have higher time frame liquidity levels above us. We have a monthly level, we have 2 daily levels above us, and then higher up we're into some other previous volume levels. We have a lot of liquidity levels above us, and so if we do break up of this triangle, we're hitting resistance, and it could just fall right back down like that. And you don't end up, you still end up with a lower high just higher up, because this is the high to beat. Like for the bulls to change or to continue bullish market structure, bullish price action requires the price to make a new high to beat this high, and then this low becomes the higher low, and we're back into bullish continuation. Yeah, that will look really bullish. The problem is that we're in the middle of this range right now, dead center as far as volume is concerned, not as far as price, but as far as volume, and maybe also as far as price, because if I take a channel, a horizontal parallel channel like that, let me do it properly, then maybe we're in the middle of price too. Let me see, I'm doing it roughly. We're just underneath the middle, just underneath the middle of the channel. So as far as price is concerned, we're just underneath the middle point, the midpoint. As far as volume is concerned, we're at the midpoint. Yeah, and probably if I was to look at the TPO chart, we are probably at the midpoint right now of this range. I think the problem is that we've put in a new low here. This is a lower low, so we've gone from a higher high straight to a lower low, right? And we're in the middle of the range now. Going up, we're heading into a bunch of resistance up here, and going down, we're going down, basically we're going down, and we're going down for a new low. So actually I think overall it's bearish. Overall it's bearish, it's not bullish. I would have preferred for the price to be consolidating above the value area high, and we're not doing that. And I think if this triangle was consolidating here, I would actually be bullish. I would be bullish. I think the location of this triangle is really important. Because we're consolidating in the middle of the range, I'm feeling a little bit more bearish. David is saying this daily triangle looks like a copy of the PA, the price action to the left. It was a triangle that expanded. So you're basically looking at this. Basically something like that. This is a lot more bullish because you're getting higher lows, and we led up into this triangle from this expansion. So it's slightly different circumstance, I think. Then David's saying, but it's with less volume, hence why the range is smaller. I think the fact that the price, the point of control has moved up is a negative sign. It's not a good indication. And actually, let me just see if there's any levels that I've missed, because I haven't updated my levels for a while. Weekly levels, no, it's just that weekly, untapped weekly up there. There's an untapped weekly down here. You see, we've got 2 weekly levels. So in terms of the horizontals, we're trapped at the moment between 2 weekly levels. So even though we are in a triangle, the reality is that we are actually between these 2 weekly levels. So we could go up and still come back down. We could still, you know, we could still be like this. I think people need to be aware of that, you know, like just because we're squeezing into a triangle at the midpoint of this point of control, it's easy to get bearish at the lows. But it's also easy to come back in to go back up. Yeah, it's very easy to do that. It's not difficult. Like even if we have a little breakdown, and I think the breakdown is going to happen soon, actually, probably in the next week or so. If we have a breakdown here, I think people will be looking for lower, but then it's very easy to reverse that and come back in. It's not difficult to do that. Then people will start getting bullish again, and then it's very easy to do this. You know, it's easy. This behavior is very easy for Bitcoin, and it's always, everything is possible. So even though we're like looking at this and going, okay, well, if we go down, we are going down, there's no real reason to think that, because the reality is we could range all the way. We could range all the way to April, to the halving. We could just be in this range. We could just be landlocked, range bound all the way to the halving. And then in the halving, you could have like a fake out to breakout. You know, that could happen, or you could just have a breakout. Even if you could just have a break, it doesn't really matter what happens after the halving, because the reality is no one expects the price to go down after the halving, and the price will slowly creep up at first, probably just simply because the miners stop selling in the halving. After the halving, the miners stop selling for a good portion of 6 months. So there's a supply and demand imbalance when it comes to Bitcoin, and it begins in the halving because that's how the miners pay for their bills. And so what they're doing now is they're accumulating. The miners they're not selling, they're accumulating, and the miners will stop selling when it comes to the halving, just for a period of 6 months or so. I'll wait for the price to increase, and then they'll start selling into the highs of the next expansion, which will be the peak of the wave 3 on Bitcoin in this 5 wave up. So right now, I think I'm actually contemplating more of a continued range bound behavior. I'm not feeling this as bullish at the moment, just simply because if we go up, we're into resistance, you know, and we'll probably end up going back down. And actually, it's probably going to be more bearish to go up than to go down, probably, just simply because you might get some crazy shorts load up if we go up, and then there won't be enough interest, and there could just be a real breakdown like that. It's possible. I think I think going up is more bearish right now, because you're going to hit some key levels, and it's also, you're going to have a really good risk to reward ratio for shorts. So if I do a fib pull here, yeah, you're going to be going into the golden pocket. If you claim the golden pocket and then lose it back into the range, I think that's going to look really bearish, and I think then you're going to get some heavy shorts. The shorts are really going to be covering longs, covering their big positions. You know, they'll have, once longs have a really nice invalidation, once they see weakness in the price, they'll cover their big longs and they'll start shorting, and there might not be enough liquidity to hold the price up, and then you could actually be heading for a complete breakdown into the lows, you know. So actually, I think going up is more bearish, But let's see, you know, who knows? You know, I don't necessarily think we're gonna go up to go up. Like, I just, it doesn't even look right, the price action. When I imagine this kind of behavior, it doesn't really look right, you know. And when you're charting, it's also about the, it's just, it has to look right. It can't just look wrong, you know, the way the price moves. It's like candles, you know, the way candles form, they have to, you can't just get certain candles after, like, you can't, like, for example, yesterday's daily candle, you can't just go up after you have this kind of candle. You can't just go up. There has to be a pullback. Yeah. So I was expecting a pullback, which is why I shorted. And actually, in my mind, this is just a range bound. It's not a reversal pattern. This is a range bound pattern. Yeah, you had exactly the same thing here, going up and then down. It wasn't a reversal. It was just range bound pattern. Yeah. It's when you're in a range, these patterns happen quite often. All right. So I don't really have a trade for Bitcoin at the moment. Let me quickly have a look at XO to see if there's any indication of order flow behavior. So the first thing I'm looking for is to see if there's any divergence, and I can't see any divergence right now. I'm seeing a lack of participation for the bulls. I'm seeing a lack of bullish activity right now. The price is falling much lower than the CVD. That's lack of participants, but it's not crazy bearish yet. There's a short loaded up here. Look, in the daily open, it's a 1.4 million open interest increase. There's another one here. So these are some big shorts have opened at the daily open, right? There's a little bit of shorting going on in the highs here. See that? And this move up earlier wasn't a healthy increase in price. It was shorts closing. So shorts closed to re-enter shorting. So there's a bit of shorting actually going on at the daily open right now. And this is a take profit, this one here, because you have a reduction in OI. I can't see any crazy liquidations right now. Yeah, I can't really see anything in the XO charts in the order flow. Let me have a look at the footprint quickly. Pretty low volume right now. Not really crazy volume either. You have very low volume. Because of these shorts that I've loaded up, I am thinking that if we do get, like, that's a pretty bearish 1 hour candle, but you have a poor high. So I am actually thinking, oh, this is pretty ugly. Look at that. It's pretty miserable, huh? That's a miserable. I am actually thinking short, but I can't. You couldn't short in the middle of this range, so it's a tricky one because we're dead center in the range, and you have an invalidation there, and you're really only targeting the bottom of this triangle, so it'd be very difficult to short now because you have such a wide invalidation. And realistically, you're aiming for the bottom, but you know, you've got some levels here where the price could easily reverse. So naturally, I think what might be better is a long into these lows. since we're already short, you know, since we kind of missed the short opportunities in these highs. Yeah. Unless the price does go back up for another chance to short, and then that would be another opportunity to short, if it may be on New York Open, if the price does manage to get back up. And then I think what you have to understand now of this PA is that everything is a scalp right now. Literally everything is a scalp. So as soon as you get a chance to take your profit, you have to take it, and don't even think about it. Just take your profit and move. Technically, we're not breaking out, we're range bound and we're stuck. And so the best opportunities in shorting and longing are going to be at the extremes of the range, yeah. And so we have our range right now. This is it. This is our range right now. And point and control is dead center. Ape just I got a signal from his bot. He's just long Solana, so I'm just going to quickly have a look at that.